This is a sponsored video about Ritual. What even are vitamins, and how do they get them into a vitamin? That is, multivitamin capsules, like this one from Ritual. Well, it's a surprisingly complicated topic, made more so by the fact that lots of multivitamins that I've seen aren't super clear about what exactly is in there or why. This is what I like about Ritual. Ritual tells you what they put in here and where it comes from. They call that traceability. And they explain their reasoning. Ritual tells you why they choose to put some things in here and not others, and they back up those choices with science. Save 10% on your first 3 months of Ritual supplements with my link and code in the description. So, vitamins are a subcategory of essential nutrients, things we all need to consume. Some nutrients are not essential. A body can get by without them, or a body can actually make them inside. In the case of essential nutrients, the only way to get them is from the outside world, like from food, or in some cases the environment, like how vitamin D can come from the sun. That's the distinction between essential and non-essential nutrients. Then there's the distinction between macronutrients and micronutrients. Macros are big things, things we need to eat a lot of, like fats and proteins. It would be very hard for me to cram my protein needs into a little pill. If I want to supplement my intake from food, I reach for something physically bigger, a shake like this one from Ritual. It's vegan, even though I'm not, which helps me diversify my protein sources, and it's formulated with that same Ritual philosophy of transparency. You can see what's in here, where it comes from, and it's darn tasty. It's no pill, but it dissolves in cold liquid or in a smoothie. That's an example of a macronutrient. Micronutrients are things we need to consume, but we only need a tiny little bit of them. Like under the microscope here, that is my thumbnail. Those are vitamins floating around in a Ritual capsule. Somebody like me generally gets them from food. I'm lucky enough to have constant access to a wide variety of fresh foods. And Ritual believes in a food-first approach. That means they recommend meeting most nutrient needs through a healthy, well-varied diet, and then take a supplement to help fill nutrient gaps. Ritual has researched the typical diets of Americans, identified potential nutrient gaps we may have, and they've designed their supplements to fill those gaps. This Ritual bottle for men my age contains lots of things I could use a little more of, including, but not limited to, vitamins. And here we finally come to it. Vitamins are the subset of essential micronutrients that are also organic compounds. Organic in the chemistry meaning of the word, not the agricultural meaning of the word. Though they do try to get their ingredients from non-GMO sources, if that's important to you, and they're vegan-friendly, non-animal. But anyway, what are all the vitamins? Well, let's go through them alphabetically, because conveniently, they are labeled with letters. Vitamin A. Vitamin A is generally used to encompass a group of compounds called retinoids, and here already things have gotten complicated. A particular vitamin isn't necessarily just one compound. There are things called vitamers, very closely related forms of that vitamin that do the job of that vitamin in the body. In the case of vitamin A, the job is to support normal vision and immune function. The particular vitamin A vitamer the folks at Ritual have chosen for my bottle is retinol palmitate, which is a bioavailable form of vitamin A that they like. It's easy for my body to actually use it. Vitamin B. This one is even more complicated, because what we call vitamin B is actually 8 different vitamins, sometimes called the vitamin B complex. These are not different forms of the same substance that all do the same job in the body. These are 8 distinct compounds, each with its own unique structure and job to do. That's why their alphabetical labels have the little numbers after them, B1, B2, etc. And why you might even be more familiar with their actual names. In the case of those two, it's thiamine and riboflavin. Yes, the numbers go up to 12, even though there's only 8 of them. Yes, that's super confusing. Yes, we'll talk about that another day. Vitamin B is really 8 different vitamins. Scientists have grouped them together for chemical reasons. They're all water-soluble, for example, aka they dissolve in water. In contrast, vitamin A is fat-soluble and is best absorbed in your body with fat. They also grouped the B vitamins together because those 8 compounds perform interrelated roles in normal cellular functioning. But here's the thing, a guy my age, living where I live, I probably get most of my B vitamins just fine from food. Like niacin, vitamin B3. There's plenty of it in a typical diet of a person like me, with or without meat. The only B vitamins Ritual puts in my bottle are folate and B12. Folate, aka vitamin B9, is kind of like vitamin A in the sense that it has multiple forms, multiple vitamers. And this is where it's really good that Ritual tells you which one they use. There are some forms of folate that some people might not be able to use because of a common genetic variation. Ritual gets around that by including folate in its active form. B12 is another interesting one, cobalamin. Me, personally, I probably get enough of it from food because I eat dairy products and on occasion red meat. However, a vegan can have a really hard time getting enough B12. Like nori and nutritional yeast products are the only two non-animal foods I ever eat that have lots of B12, so that's why B12 is in the bottle. There's no vitamin C in the bottle because guys like me usually get more than enough ascorbic acid from food. It's in citrus fruit and bell peppers, for example, and in other foods that the manufacturer has fortified with vitamin C. Ascorbic acid supports normal immune function. But not everyone is a guy like me, so Ritual does put vitamin C in some of their other formulations. Like this one for postnatal women. These formulations are backed up by research, which you can read all about here on Ritual's website. Vitamin D is similar to vitamin A in that it has a few distinct vitamers. Vitamin D helps your body absorb calcium and helps support bone health. Apropos of calcium, let's do a tangent on minerals. Not all essential micronutrients are classified as vitamins. Some we call minerals. Why? Well, because they're not organic compounds. They're elements, things from the periodic table. They're not vitamins, but they are essential micronutrients. And guys like me might not necessarily get enough of some of them, so they're in my multivitamin even though they're not vitamins. Also in my multivitamin is vitamin D3, cholecalciferol, which helps my body absorb the calcium I ingest. Vitamin D can be obtained through sun exposure as well as from food. Data from the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey show that many Americans are not getting enough vitamin D from diet. I probably get a lot of vitamin D from milk products, which are commonly fortified with vitamin D, but again, if you don't do milk, that can be a problem. Ritual sources their vitamin D from sustainably sourced lichen rather than from animal sources. Whether that matters to you or not, isn't it nice that they come out and tell you? Then there's vitamin E, which is a fat-soluble antioxidant. It's found mostly in nuts and seed oils, but also occurs in some fruits and vegetables. Ritual gets theirs from rapeseed oil instead of soy, if you're avoiding soy. Or even if you don't care, isn't it nice that they tell you? The last vitamin is vitamin K, which is important for normal blood coagulation, clotting, and it supports bone health. The particular form Ritual puts in this bottle is vitamin K2 menaquinone. Again, that's one that vegans may have a hard time getting from food, plus it's a form that lasts longer in the body. Again, isn't it nice that all of this is on the website, down to the factory in Norway where they make it? What happened to vitamins G through I? Why does it skip from E to K? That's a funny and long story that we'll tell another day. But some people do say vitamin F to refer to two essential omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. Even though the US government does not actually classify them as vitamins, fat is considered a macronutrient, not a micronutrient, and therefore not a vitamin. But one so-called vitamin F that Ritual does put in my multi is omega-3 DHA. This is a fatty acid that supports brain and heart health. And they get it from microalgae, not fish, so it's vegan. Remember, Ritual is vegan-friendly, non-GMO, gluten-free, major allergen-free, no artificial colorants, and Ritual mails them right to your door so you never fall off the multivitamin wagon. The packaging is made with 100% recycled materials because that's the kind of thing that Ritual thinks about. Do you and me both a favor. Use my link and code in the description and you'll get 10% off your first 3 months of Ritual multivitamins. Use my link and code in the description, save 10% on your first 3 months. Thank you, Ritual. And you, however you get your vitamins, get your vitamins.